Alrighty guys, so today I have for you the Space Marine Lieutenant in Phobos Armor Primaris Space Marine from the Shadowspear box set, continuing with that. If you haven't already checked out the videos on the lieutenants coming up now, but the librarian and the captain, take a look at those guys too. This model's very nice. I like this model a lot. It's the captain in Phobos armor. So the lieutenant in this particular case doesn't have his own sprue like the other guys do. He exists on sprue A from the Shadowspear box, and it looks like most of his components are in this region here. So we're gonna be taking a look at that, and let's get to it, huh? So yeah, let's take a look. I'll flip my instructions around. So 46. See, I always loved the hunting game. Part 46. Kind of spin it around there. Make sure I get my clippers in there. So 46, 45, that's his leg bits. See, a lot of these guys, they have bits of terrain on their sprue, which, not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of, because I like to do my own basing styles for it. The backpack is in two pieces here, part 51. And then, where's the rest of that backpack? Backpack's 52. Help me out, I'm blind. I don't see it. That's 12. $56, $52, there it is. Kind of jumped on me there. Okay. That's the grav chute components there. Alright, 53. Gun 50? Yeah, 50. Go ahead and jump to that as I'm looking at it. Kind of a big sprue. Try to film on. Probably falling out of frame every now and then. Sorry about that, if I am. Alright. 53. That's his double combat blade sheaths, which gives him a special rule, Knife Fighter. Knife Fighter is for each unmodified hit roll of a 6 made for attacks with this model's close combat weapon scores 2 hits instead of 1, so it's like an auto hit, which is pretty cool. 48A. 48. There you are. A lot of detail in that head. And 49. Trying to support that blade as I cut. Alright, let's see. Arm. That. His chest component. What is that? 47? There it is. I love these models. They got a lot of pouches and blades and grenades, which is pretty cool. Big fan of that. Okay. I think that's all the components. I'm going to set this aside. Alright, so front. back, legs, head, arm, back. Yeah, that's everything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 components. Kind of a trend going on, I feel, with these guys. I'm going to leave this here in case you guys want to take a look at that while I'm doing it. Get my blade out. Start working on those mold lines and sprue connecting points. Trying to clean those up as best I can. That's pretty good. See, I wish they would put these sprue connectors on somewhere other than the top of the backpacks or power plants, because it's at a very visible location. And it makes it kind of rough down the road, especially if you're trying to get a real smooth finish. Yeah, clean up that mold line across the top. Again, with the mold lines, just using the side of the blade, running around. You don't need a fancy mold line tool. You don't need to spend that kind of money. Just a regular X-Acto blade will do you just fine. And then again, for these parts, tend to want to use a file just to round those off and get those a little smoother. But yeah, I'm enjoying this box set a good bit so far. I mean, no complaints yet. They're all pretty straightforward. Really can't mess them up too much. See, I say that and I'm gonna have issues with this one. No, but again, it looks pretty straightforward. 9 components, standard marine style. So, all in all, I expect this one to go together pretty easily. Yeah, no, this box set here, Shadowspear, I think it's really good for beginners. You know, you and your friend can get into it, split it. The models are fantastically detailed, but they're easy to put together, and the instructions on these are really, really good. And this new generation of instructions with the catting and the different colors indicating new components, it's pretty user-friendly, which is good. Make the hobby more accessible. Because a lot of people I talk to at the shops and whatnot, you know, they're always kind of worried about getting into it. Like, I can't paint. Well, you don't need to be a great painter. Just put some effort into it. And, you know, wherever you are, people will be more than happy to teach you. You know, I find that most people in this hobby love talking about this hobby, love sharing what they know and can do. And then with the internet, you know, you want to figure out how to do something. Oh man, there's like a billion ways to learn how to do it. All right, pull up a video or find a blog, or somebody out there has done it and can teach you how. All right. Another thing that people always talk about at the shops, especially new people, is, oh, I hear it's really expensive to get into. And, you know, yes, this is not a cheap hobby, but it is a hobby. And hobbies, by definition, are pretty much luxuries, and this is a luxury item, okay? Now, most people who go to these kind of places, these shops, these stores, they're into card games. I used to do card games, and I'll tell you what, every time a new set were to come out, dropping $300-400. Getting my boxes, trying to get those cards that will finish the deck, and what would happen is 2-3 months later, a new set would come out. You know what you gotta do? You gotta drop $200-300 again. Or a ban list would hit, and suddenly what you got, well, it's not viable anymore. So guess what you gotta do? Gotta drop another 50, 60 bucks here, right? So a card game, realistically, costs way more in the long run than this game does, than this hobby, okay? Now, if you were to drop all that money all at once, okay, yeah, you'd be feeling it pretty bad. But you build over time, you collect, right? You talk to friends, buy secondhand, buy used. You know, if you're really, really smart, you talk to your friends and you get a list that you want to play. You just buy and build that list and then you stop. That never happens. No one ever does that. No one ever does that. But if you're really smart, that's what you should do. Alright, they've got a lot of mold lines on this leg set. Yeah, these are pretty rough ones. Pretty detailed ones too. But that's the thing, you know, and once you get your army set up, you know, you're done. You know, Space Marine is a Space Marine. A demon is a demon. You know, their rules may come and go and change, but once you got that model, you've got that model, right? Very rarely does a model go away, you know. And I can't really think of too many instances that have happened since I've been in this hobby. But, I mean, I guess when 8th Ed first hit, we lost a lot of special characters with Marines. You know, Apothecary on bike, Librarian on bike, you know, that kind of stuff. But, yeah, that was such a rarity. You know, once you got it, you got it. A Marine is a Marine. So, now you can tell by the amount of stuff collecting on my table, this guy has a little more required cleanup to him. Also, his head doesn't have a peg like we've been seeing. So we might be able to play around with positioning a little bit more on this one. But just looking at like a finished model, only a couple of real places you'd want him looking. Good and clean otherwise, as far as mold lines go, which is good. But yeah, I challenge anybody out there to look up on eBay how much a used army costs, and then compare it to how much, you know, your Magic deck costs, or a Yu-Gi-Oh deck costs, or heck, even a Pokemon deck nowadays, how much those all cost you. And see how much you're really spending. Another really cool thing about this is, at least for me, I don't have to have somebody else to give me value out of this hobby. You know, I don't have to be playing a game to enjoy it. I can build, I can paint. There's not too much you can do with a card game by yourself, you know. So that's something to keep in mind. And like I said, if you're worried about painting, you'll get there, slow and steady. Like the first model I ever worked on, whoo, it was a hot mess. Hot mess. But it got better. Got better. So there's our components, all cleaned up. Alright. Instructions here. I'm going to go ahead and walk through those. And like always, I like to dry fit. Make sure it's going together the way I think it should. Alright, we'll get that backpack first. Again, Gorilla Glue, Super Glue, Gel. It has fast become my favorite. Good control, good bond. Again, with it being a gel, it doesn't run all over the place. It pretty much stays where you put it. Back when I first started, I'd use those little cheapy tubes. Heck, you'd put together a model, and sometimes that glue just comes spraying out. It goes all over the place. And you're left there like, oh no, I got a clear coat on my gray model. Which, that wasn't ever a really good thing. But this stuff, pretty awesome. Well worth it. Well worth it indeed. Okay. What's really cool too, you can get like a little dot on the tip. Not so much where it comes out, right? But as you walk around it, it'll find its way, like kind of like a paintbrush would, into all those little nooks and crannies. And just kind of pull that dot onto the plastic, which is nice. Again though, this model, very, very monopose. Not too many options at all with posing, which I'm not a big fan of. Right, I like to be able to customize and make them my own, but you know, it is what it is. And it's to be expected from box sets like this, but I keep finding, like, even in the newer troop boxes, they're all kind of finding their way to this monopose look, right? So, and that's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, I guess I could do some playing with cutting pins and pegs. But I think on my first box I'm gonna just stick to the instructions basically. That structured look. Let's see. Little diamond peg there, diamond peg there. It's not a real clean register. Kind of a shallow slot, but I mean it's in such a thin piece of plastic. Can't really hold them accountable for that one. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. Right? But yeah, straightforward build. One of the things about this Phobos pattern armor that I'm not super happy with, I wish the shoulder pads were bigger. You know, I wish that was a thing. You get your standard shoulder pad on this side, but this side they keep giving us that smaller look. I guess that's to kind of sell the idea of being lighter and faster and sneakier. But yeah, I feel like I'm gonna have him kind of looking off in this direction. And there he is. Another one done. I like his pose. He has a very open body language, you know, arm up, arm out, about to stab, legs wide, giving that power stance. And then the way the grav chute comes off the back kind of balances the model out towards the front. So all in all, pretty cool looking model. I still think I gotta lean my favoritism towards that Captain model in this kit so far. But good model nonetheless. So yeah, he's Lieutenant, Marine stat line, movement of 6, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 4, 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 8, save of a 3+. Now this guy, he comes with his grab shoot, right? So basically just gives him the deep strike rule, if you remember that back in the day. So you can set him up anywhere on the battlefield 9 inches away from an enemy. So at the end of any movement phase, you get to do that. So it's not like at the beginning, like the other ones get with those concealed position layouts. That knife fighter rule we already talked about. Any unmodified 6, when you go to hit, causes 2 hits instead of 1. Tactical precision, you get to re-roll wound rolls of 1 for friendly chapter units within 6 inches of him. So he's getting that re-roll of wounds. And they shall know no fear. Keywords, character, infantry, Phobos, Primaris, and Lieutenant. So he does have that Phobos armor, so he becomes a target for our Vanguard Librarian, which is very good. Bolt pistol, master-crafted Oculus bolt carbine, 24-inch range, rapid fire 1, strength 4, damage 2. Cool thing is, units do not get cover from wounds with this weapon. Close combat weapon, his knife, that's a melee, strength user, 1 damage. Frag and crack grenades. Again, I really want them to do something special with these combat blades. Maybe, AP neg 1, maybe strength 5, maybe on a 6, do something. But we don't know yet.